You probably all followed the drama between Nike and StockX. Nike had brought hundreds of pairs on StockX, authenticated them, and ultimately found many fakes among the pairs they had purchased. They took the opportunity to trample on StockX by saying that they were selling fakes on their platforms. And naturally, the question that immediately came to my mind was, can Nike really authenticate their own products 100%? And what if Nike inadvertently sold counterfeit Nike products too? It's true, we can easily imagine people integrating counterfeits into Nike's logistics chain. Counterfeits that they will eventually deliver to customers who will be 100% convinced that they brought an authentic product. Since logically they brought it from Nike, so it can't be a fake. From there, my new actual question was more. What happens if you buy a pair on Nike's website and return a fake to them? Will they automatically notice it like they did with the pairs they brought on StockX? Or will they accept the return product and logically put it back on sale immediately even though it's counterfeit? Until a few weeks ago, I had absolutely no idea, and I even asked you on Instagram. I literally got all imaginable answers at the same time. Thanks for the participation, guys, but we didn't make much progress. However, where everyone did agree was when we asked you if we should test the experience. You all wanted to know what would happen if some goober tried to return a fake to Nike. And well, that's good because I'm gonna be that guy.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water.
This is a new video, and today we're back with a crazy experiment. We're gonna try to pull a sneaky one on the mother of all sneaker games, Nike. Obviously, a little disclaimer, this experiment is carried out by professionals, so don't try this at home. Especially since it's totally illegal to do what we're gonna do, but hey, if we're doing it, you know, everything for the views, right?
And remember, like and subscribe.
But in all seriousness, this is a very serious journalistic investigation. And just like with StockX, it's important to know the flaws in the systems we use. Anyway, let's not even waste any more time. We've got a lot to do to carry out with this investigation.
Okay, let's go.
The first step is to choose the pair we're going to flip, and it's not as easy as it may sound, because it has to be a pair that we can buy directly from the Nike website and that has decent reps. Basically, we can forget about the latest collab with Travis Scott or random pairs like the Jordan series, because I'm not even sure if factories in China bothered to make fakes of those pairs. No, for this test, we're going to go with a classic, the basic all-white Air Force Ones.
Nice.
Now that we picked the perfect pair for the experience, let's start by buying the fake. And this time, for a little challenge, let's settle for an entry-level knockoff for 191s, which is about $27. Here is the swampy world of cheap fakes. There's no website, no customer service, no nothing. It's all done through WeChat, hoping that the seller won't screw you over. But don't worry, the pair arrived just fine. In the end, it cost me around $70 for ultra-fast delivery. No joke, the delivery cost twice as much as the pair, but at least I got it in a week. As expected, I had already seen the photos, and the pair is very well done. I mean, honestly, it would be extremely difficult for me to tell the difference from a real pair by just looking at it. The shape is spot on, and it does not look ultra cheap, at least not more than the real Air Force Ones does. The embroidery seems correct as well, and if you are wondering how a $30 fake can be so well made, it's simply because a real Air Force One cost about $15 to make, and we got it at almost factory price without the VAT. Plus, the seller makes a very small profit since the competition in the world of fakes in China is very tough. Of course, I don't think we'll be dealing with a product that's as well imitated in details as the Dunks we sent to StockX, but let's take a closer look. As for the leather, we're clearly dealing with that famous shoddy leather we find on Air Force Ones or Dunks. And at this point, I am convinced that they are exactly the same. The Dubray on the laces looks more than decent, but the stitching seems a bit wonky. Although it would not shock me to see something like that on a real Nike product. When we take a closer look at the embroidery, it seems to have the correct proportions and does not look cheap either. For me, this fake is totally sufficient for what we want to do. Now we just have to set it aside and go get the real deal. Direction to the Nike website. And for the Americans who complain about the Air Force Ones being $120, brother, they cost $150 59 francs in Switzerland. That's almost $180.
What?
Alright, let's grab our real Air Force Ones from Nike's website, eagerly drop our 159 bucks on this bad boy, and patiently wait for it to arrive. 1 week later, we did receive our package, and this time it was the classic Nike box with this eco-friendly bullshit. Man, for now, given the price of the Air Force, only my bank balance is moving to zero.
Bankrupt, no money on my card.
Inside the package, we find a box in a much better condition and a pair that they've tied up as if it owed them some money. Tight. At first glance, the real and fake ones are almost identical. And the good news is that unlike the fake one, the real one does not have a zip tie attached to the pair. So it's gonna be even easier than expected to swap the pairs.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Up close, we can see that the leather is literally the same. They're really indistinguishable between the two pairs. But the metal tag is slightly different, and the seams are still less wonky on the real one. It's the gigantic dripping glue marks on the back or front of the pair. With marks like that, aren't we entitled to return the item? Anyway, that's what I did on Nike's website, and now that I've made my return request, I have to send them a white Air Force One, and it just so happens that I have two. The one on your left and the fake one on your right, which is very similar but still has some pretty visible defects. We're already thinking about the colors of the tags on the tongues. The soles that are a bit too dark with a texture that's a bit less defined than one on the real one, even if in the end, the mold is the same and the details are in the same place and proportions. At the level of the mesh, we can nitpick. They don't really have the same pattern or the same color, even if there's nothing shocking. On the other hand, if we look at the insoles, the difference in color is really very visible. On the real one, the print is almost tone on tone, whereas on the fake one, it's on a much darker scale. We'll also note that on the left foot of the real one, the print is completely messed up. Unlike the fakes where the placements are right in the middle, it's almost too precise. In short, the fake can pass, but it's clearly not as simple as you might think, where some people imagine that we can just throw a rock in the box since they supposedly only check the weight of the package. No, it's clearly stated in the return email that the items are checked before being refunded. That means if the item is damaged, non-conforming, or too strange, the pair can be refused by Nike and returned to us, or even destroyed if they find out about our little plan. Fraudulent returns are far from uncommon in the world of e-commerce. People who have fun with refunds and canceling their orders by stealing items or returning counterfeit products. It's something all e-commerce giants have to protect themselves from, and they certainly have very precise procedures to avoid being swindled. In our case, I don't think the guys who handle returns are trained to do legit checks on every single pair of Nike. So our fake Air Force One is clearly well made enough to be accepted for a return, except for one big problem with our fake. This is the label from the authentic Nike article, where we see the UPC code of the pair, the model reference, and the date. This one is the label from the fake pair, where absolutely everything is different. Even the manufacturing date is much too suspect, since given the shortage of Air Force Ones we had, it's literally impossible that they sold us an Air Force One made 4 years ago in 2019. So before returning the item, we'll have to do a little bit of sewing, since if there's one thing the guys who will receive our return will notice is the label, and it would be really stupid to get caught just because of it. We obviously won't explain how to exchange a label or all the little tricks to make the fake pass, but we conditioned it as best as we could so that everything go as planned. Now that we have everything we need, we can put our slightly modified fake in the box. We will obviously cut the weird zip tie and send it off to Nike. 3 to 4 days later, we received the first email from Nike telling us that they received the package, but we don't know if we're gonna be refunded yet. That's probably the moment that they inspect the return, and on my side, that's where I start to sweat a little bit.
I'm so fucking scared right now, you shut up!
Fortunately, the next day, everything ended well. The pair has indeed been refunded, and I don't really know who the scammer is in this story. Between Nike, who sells me an Air Force One for 160 bucks, or me who returns a fake back to them. However, I am a bit unsatisfied with this. I'm not sure if they just didn't care in the end and simply accepted the return because I didn't have a suspicious account or anything. I also don't know if the return would have been accepted if I hadn't changed the fake interior inferior labels. There are many questions and nuisances that are emerging here, but apparently you can buy a busted fake for 30 bucks and exchange it for a real one at Nike without any problems. And this experience is probably repeatable to infinity with absolutely all brands. Now, should we try the experiment again? I don't know, but it's up to you in the comments.